I'm Dave Burse. I'm the author of How to Get to Great Ideas. And I want to run you through my story dice generator that I've built. It's an online tool that will give you story dice to help you generate stories. And I want to show you how to use it. So let's get started. I've got my Mac here. Let's type in the web address, daveburse.com. That's my name. /story dice. Hit return. Let's deal with the first one we've got. Okay, so what I tend to do is I tend to start at the end to work out where my story is going to. One of the most important things in stories is to try and transform a character from the beginning to the end, and that's what we're going to try to do here. So the end here, I've got drinks. So that could mean that somebody's celebrating with drinks. It could mean that somebody's commiserating with drinks. They're trying to drink to forget. It could just be that they're thirsty. So we then go back to the beginning to work out. Now there's a book at the beginning. That could be any kind of book. It could be a phone book. It could be a Bible. It could be a novel. It could be my book right here. So let me have a bit of a ponder and I'll come back to you with a story. Okay, let's see if we can get a story out of this now. It's not necessarily going to be a good story, but it'll be a story and it'll be a short one. So one morning, I was reading a book in my pants because that's what I like to do. And sitting in the chair, in my pants, reading the book, I saw something sparkling out the corner of my eye. There was this thing in the carpet sparkling, and it was a hair clip. And as I was looking at this hair clip, I thought, well, better look around and see if there's anything else in the carpet. And look, the whole place was an absolute mess. Now, my wife was going to be coming home in just about an hour or so, and I had a lot of tidying to do. So I went round the house, I put down the book, started picking things up. I tidied the floor completely. I then realised it was still quite dusty as well. So I got out the vacuum cleaner, I gave it a really good tidy. Now, I broke into a sweat. I was so hot. I ended up just having to down just loads and loads of water because I was exhausted and I was sweating and just in a horrible state after doing all this cleaning. And at that point, my wife comes in, finding me standing in the middle of the living room, soaked in sweat, in my underpants. I had a lot of explaining to do. Okay, so there we go. That's number one. So that's us using a story using the 5 dice method. It's not a great story, as I said, but you know, it's a story. It came to mind. It's what the dice gave us. It's what we end up with. So let's actually have a look now. As you can see up in the top left corner of the screen here, we've got the 9 dice version. So let's have a look at that and do a 9 dice story as well. What does it give us? Okay, so we start with a bus and a rocket and a mousetrap. And we end with a toilet. Okay, I'm sorry, this might not be a pleasant story. So again, I'll look at the toilet, try and work out how it is I'm going to end this story on the toilet. I'll be back with you with a story very shortly. Hold on to your trousers. Okay, so let's try this story here. This is the story of Susan and how Susan realised that maybe it's not good to be cruel to animals. Susan had finished at work. She had a job working for the council, doing very dreary, clerical kind of work, and she couldn't wait to get home. She jumped on the bus and the bus just couldn't go fast enough. She wanted it to race all the way home like a rocket because she had bought herself a new mousetrap and she wanted to try it out. She'd had a problem with mice for a few weeks now. She'd be lying there at night on her settee watching a bit of television and past a mouse would go, another mouse would go that way. She wanted to get rid of these mice. So she had this mousetrap. She was desperate to try it out. So as soon as she got home, she ran to the fridge, got a chunk of cheese, put it in the mousetrap, put the mousetrap down on the floor, and then she thought she'll just go about her night as normal, just keeping an eye on this mousetrap as she did it. So she sat down on her settee, switched on Netflix and started eating her dinner. She had a burger for dinner that night. That was great. Once she was finished with that, she stayed in the settee and she folded some of her laundry, her underwear, some of her tops. She got all her laundry sorted. Still, no mouse had gone to this mousetrap. So she thought, well, I'll wait a little bit longer. And she went and she opened up a bottle of wine and she poured herself a glass of wine. Mouse still hadn't gone into the trap. So she poured herself a second glass of wine. And again, there was mice. She saw them occasionally running across the room, but they didn't go anywhere near the trap. So she finished her second glass of wine, went over to the trap to see if it was working okay. And the thing closed on her finger and she hurt her finger and she was crying and it was bleeding. So she took her finger out the mousetrap and she ran to the bathroom because she didn't want to get blood all over the carpet. And she was standing over the toilet, wrapping her finger in toilet paper to stem the blood, and she realised that maybe it was better just to live with these mice. And instead of turning them into an enemy, maybe she could turn them into her friends. Okay, so hopefully from those stories there's been a bit of a transformation from the beginning to the end. You can see how you can get stories out of the dice. If you want more explanation, you can of course go to the top right of the screen here. There's the instructions, and the instructions here will let you know a little bit about how it works. There's even a version which is embedded into the page here. You can see here's some more. Oh, we start with a mouse that time, and then a burger makes an appearance again. So you can see that we've got the dice that you can play on the page. There's explanation how to do it. Again, there's another sort of story that I wrote with the first thing that came up when I tried it out. So you can find out more about how to use it, when to use it, and I hope that this is of some help to you, because I spent a lot of time creating this thing. If you come up with good stories, please send them to me. I love a good story. Anyway, that's all from me. Good luck with Story Dice.